Hi everybody, Mike Stevenson at Turbo 360 here. I'm taking the opportunity to grab my friend Andrew Rivers from one of our cool partners, 345 Technologies, and I've been trying to grab him for a couple of days just to grab 10 minutes, 5 minutes, have a quick chat, because Andrew's always doing really interesting stuff and always thinking about really interesting things, which always lets our conversations run way more than 5 minutes. So Andrew, tell me what's kind of gone through your head these days about integration.
That's a really, well, we could be here for an hour basically on that, but I feel like we are on the cusp of the whole world changing in many different ways. And okay, everyone's on the AI bandwagon and all that kind of thing, but we are actually in a real pivotal moment, and it's a really exciting time. You can fear it or you can embrace it, and definitely I'm in the latter category, because I think there's a session earlier on about what does AI mean for us as integration developers or whatever it is, and it's like ultimately, if you think of yourself as my purpose is to solve a problem for my customer, right? If you think of your identity in that way, then it's great because you've got a really powerful tool set to help you do that. If you think my purpose is to write lines of code, then it's not so great because there'll be less of that. But if you actually think, I want to help people and be really responsive in how I help people, then it's an amazing time. Which is why one of the things I'm really excited about is things like coding agents and the potential that offers for completely changing the way that we do things.
Talk me a little bit more detail about that. Then where do you sort of, how do you see us applying that, and where do you see the opportunities that's going to kick in?
There's a bit of background. Let's start the story. Let's start the story.
Just to be clear, my phone's got 20% battery.
Okay, it's not going to be that long. So it's not really that much more than a year ago that ChatGPT 4 came out. And that was when really ChatGPT caught people's imagination. Yeah. And I go to a user group, South Coast user group. Shout out, guys! Really interesting session. And summer last year there was a session on copilots, and it was a bit rough and ready, and that sort of thing. Fast forward 1 year to this year, and we've bought Copilot for all our techies so they can improve their productivity and that sort of stuff. And so fast forward a year, and there was, again, South Coast User Group, there's a session on vibe coding, with comparing different things, GitHub Spark and some of the others. And I hadn't really been paying much attention to the vibe coding thing, and suddenly seeing what was possible and how fast it had come. And that's the thing that's amazing, is the pace at which it's changed. So I went to that session, and they were, just building an app. It was an app to find theatre tickets in London using public APIs. And GitHub Spark with a Claude model did that in like 15 minutes and had a working app. It was just absolutely breathtaking. And so it's like, so I think I was really shaken out of my complacency by this. That most technologies arrive sufficiently incrementally that you can catch up as you go, and this is like, no, I've actually got to apply some directed effort onto this. It's not just going to go in through osmosis. It's going to actually, there's actually some, and so since then, over the last 3 months or so, I've been really, really motivated to go and do this, and all the time, and the more I do it, the more motivated I get, because it used to be a lot of the time that I remember when I used to work in an internal IT department building custom line of business systems, and you'd have loads of brilliant ideas, and it's all, well, how long is that going to take? How much is that going to cost?
You can't do anything with them.
Oh, you can't do anything. And I remember, I was listening to a podcast recently, and it said something like 70 or 75% of features never happen because there's a cost associated with them. And now you're kind of thinking, well, where's the line going to be drawn? Because if you can if you can leverage some of these, some coding agents and that sort of thing, just think of how many more of your cool ideas can actually see the light of day.
Yeah.
And because the thing that's holding it back is all that toil. And if you can cut through some of that toil and just
so you can kind of like rapid prototyping.
And particularly one of the things I've been using some of the vibe coding and coding agent stuff for is to just put ideas in front of people to say, a quoting engine, it might look like this, and you can 20 minutes you can sort of say, here's something it might look like, what do you think? And as a prototyping thing, that's just absolutely amazing, because it used to take you longer than that to mock it up on
wireframes.
On a wireframe. And now you can have something that actually functions, and, and people say, oh, I like that, or I don't like that, I don't like that. And so that whole way in which you can unleash creativity is amazing, because one of the things that I find really motivating is creativity and actually putting ideas into action and helping to build the future, and just having all that stuff that used to take ages is now, well, it's still it's not free, but it's
a thing as well where you can you have the idea, but then you need somebody, you haven't got the time, you need somebody to turn the idea into the thing that you go, that's what I was thinking, and then you can turn it into something for a customer. But now you can actually go to step 2 yourself and kind of prove the concept to people, which I think helps you get down that pipeline of turning it into a real thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. And so we talked briefly earlier on about we've been building a platform called 345 Air for a while, and it's like the next iteration of that. What I want to do is to put effectively some, a lot of that is really deployment engine for a highly secure integration platform, but to put front end on that so that you can actually set all the configuration and then make things happen. It's like, well, front end development used to be really painful, and especially it's not our core skill. And it's like, well, so the challenge I've set myself now is to say, well, maybe we can build a front end, and let's not write a line of code, and let's see if we can get GitHub coding agents to do literally everything, and see how far we can go and how much we can learn.
I actually did a proof of concept recently that looked like a web developer had done it, and I'm the worst UI developer in the world.
But there is so much. Well, if you think about how many websites there are, how many web applications, or how much training data there is on web front ends, it's just like, it's not surprising that it can produce something that's.
Yeah, I guess there is a danger of which JavaScript framework does it use without telling you that.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can then go and give it a task to look at code security. You can give it a task to refactor and remove that library and recommend a different one and put that in. So actually, some of those kind of so one of the other things that we're also looking at is just like technical debt used to be the bane of everyone's life, and it's like, well, if actually you can clean that up. We're not yet at you can wave a magic wand and it's all fixed, but it's becoming less and less and less painful. And then there's so many customers who work with the legacy stuff. What's holding them back? The more we can fix that, and get them onto something newer, something more agile, it just opens up so many possibilities for them. So as a result, I'm just really excited. Just can't wait.
Yeah, just got your mojo for doing
I feel like Mojo's back in a way that it hasn't been for a while.
That's good.
Or certainly not for techie stuff. I mean, Mojo's been on other stuff, but it's for techie stuff is actually quite.
I guess as a consultancy, it's like even just using it internally, it lets you solve those problems you just never would have had the chance to really solve. But now you can just get the AI to help you solve those and kind of really level up your business, not just your customer's business.
Well, that's it. Because I think people say the same thing about tradesmen as well. That we do loads of integration stuff and help. We help customers, and we help have amazingly automated business processes, and yet our stuff's held together with a bit of string. And so what it gives us a chance to do is to actually dog food some of this on ourselves and say, okay, well, let's have an implementation of this ourselves, and then see how much of our own stuff how much of our own house can we get in order, and how fast can we do it, and that kind of thing. It's just and being able to prove this stuff on ourselves first, because you don't necessarily you don't want to go to a customer and say, hey, do you want to be a guinea pig? But actually it gives us a chance to upskill the team and also
learn about those real world things you wouldn't think of until it's gone live as well. Yeah. That's a brilliant conversation, Andrew. Thank you very much for giving me 10 minutes of your time there.
Well, thank you. It's always great talking to you.